Jose, can't you see?
Wait a second. The first word is Jose? I thought it was...
Jose, we know.
Wow! It's about a Spanish guy. Oh, Jose, can you...
I don't believe it, man.
It's so easy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy R&R. This is your host Ryan.
And I'm Rob.
And today's episode is titled No Way Jose. Jose, can you see?
This is Fantasy with Rob and Ryan.
And Jose Canseco.
Fantasy R&R.
And Jay.
All right, guys. This is groundbreaking here for Fantasy R&R. Of the 12 people that we have following us on Twitter, the 12th person is none other than Jose Canseco. That is correct. The Jose Canseco has started following Fantasy R&R. And both Ryan and I are pretty juiced about this right now, and yet we are very puzzled why this is happening, Ryan. What are you thinking here, bud?
Man, Juice is putting it lightly. I feel like I'm on fucking steroids right now. This is amazing news. Just a fantastic human being to follow us.
That's right.
Just some of the memories that we have of Jose Canseco with that fly ball. We just had to look this up. The fly ball bouncing off his head.
Yes.
As he was fielding it. You said he was on the Rangers at the time?
He was on the Rangers at the time. Fly ball going to catch it, hits the top of his head, bounces over the wall. It is considered a home run.
Ruled as a home run. So we were wondering about that. I was like, was that a ground rule double back in the day? So we got that. This is the guy who blew the lid open on the steroid scandal in the MLB. Getting arrested, driving drunk, redeeming himself in the public eye, going on to fight in MMA. That's right. It's just a lot of memories. Mr. 4040.
Mr. 4040.
So
that's
with
right.
that, I just want to say we're going to start he is a Bash brother. Whether with the Devil Rays, the Yankees, the Athletics, all of the teams that just clamored for this mountain of a man. I just want to start off by saying this is a new segment we're going to start doing where we're going to read you the Jose Canseco tweet of the day. As of 53 minutes ago, here at 5:27, happy birthday to everyone except Alex Rodriguez.
Ah, yes. Very nice.
Yeah, it's just we're gonna start doing that. Great to have you, Jose. So with that, let's go right into some kind of immediate news that's going on. Rob, trade deadline's coming up, right?
Yes, that's right. July 30th at 4 p.m. The MLB trade deadline's coming up. Big names are being tossed around. That of Max Scherzer, Anthony Rizzo. It's going to be interesting. Max Kepler for the Twins. A lot of guys are going to be looking at possibly getting moved away from their current team. Nelson Cruz recently has been traded to that of Tampa, which has been a very interesting trade so far for them. So more is yet to come, and we are looking forward to seeing the big shakeup.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. We'll be coming back with an episode after that, talk about how these potential moves, are going to affect the fantasy value of that player going forward. So with that, Rob, let's get into it. You've got some ad drop suggestions coming up. As usual, let's start at catcher. We're talking about Dalton Varsho, Arizona Diamondbacks. You can use him at at catcher. You can use him in the outfield, but for most purposes this year, probably being used as a catcher. What's your value going forward?
Yeah, Dalton Varsho is one of Arizona's biggest prospects that they've had for a while. Has stumbled very early on in this season, was drafted high as a sleeper catcher. Looks like he's starting to cash in recently. Arizona recently traded the likes of Stephen Vogt to the Atlanta Braves, so that he's not going to have to worry about playing time as much. It looks as if Carson Kelly is going to be done for the year, so this is Varsho's job to lose. This guy's got 20/20 potential written all over him. He's got elite speed, especially for a catcher. Again, he is playing the outfield for the most part and will be catching as well, so jump on this guy early.
Second player, Luis Torrens, catcher for the Seattle Mariners. Just in this last week alone, he's hit a couple of home runs. He's batting about 260. This somebody's probably out on the waiver wires right now, I believe. It looks like about 10% rostered in Yahoo leagues. Do you see some value in him closing out people's seasons?
Yeah, I mean, it's a catcher hitting for power for the most part. If you got the likes of Yadier Molina, I know I did. Not really doing much right now, and Torrens has been tearing it up, but is also playing first base, so we'll get first base eligibility here soon with Seattle, who recently looks to be buyers at the trade deadline. So if you're looking for a catcher with power, Luis Torrens is your guy.
And we're going to move on to first base now, someone that you were just discussing with me. just jumping up 15% last week of a roster increase in Yahoo. Lamonte Wade Jr. of the San Francisco Giants, multiple position eligibility. Give us a rundown on him.
Yeah, he's more or less come out of nowhere. Brandon Belt, the often injured Brandon Belt, I should say. He's been playing for him, Wade Jr. has, and has been doing nothing but hitting home runs. So the Giants surprising everybody with their offense this year. Lamont Wade Jr. has been doing well, and I believe has been leading off in a very, very dynamic offense there out in San Francisco.
All right, talk about someone who's having a monster week right now. Joey Votto, familiar name. A lot of people gave up on this guy. Kind of crazy. Cincinnati Reds first baseman Joey Votto. Do you think he's going to keep this up?
Yeah, I believe in our most recent podcast I had brought up Joey Votto, and all he's done since is just hit home runs. He's still hitting for a high average. He has essentially traded the patience for power, which is never a bad thing, especially for fantasy, looking for first base or utility position. Middle infield, Joey Votto is your man.
All right, 90 feet down the line, Colton Wong at second base for the Brewers.
Yeah, Colton Wong is back from injury yet again. Another one of these guys who has been nicked up for the most part of the year. But Colton Wong's leading off. Milwaukee's hitting a lot of home runs. That ballpark is going to get him some cheap home runs himself. He's got some solid speed. You're looking for runs, second base, middle infield again. Colton Wong is a guy to definitely go look at, especially with Milwaukee currently leading in the MLB Central. Oh boy, the NL Central. Thank you, the NL Central.
No, I get it. We're all really excited for football season. All right, next guy, Cesar Hernandez, started the season off kind of rough with his batting average, but does have 17 home runs thus far. Probably out on the waiver wire right now. Is he worth a pickup?
Yeah, oldie but a goodie. I mean, much like that of Joey Votto, I think these are last calls on a couple of these guys. You know, Cesar Hernandez has always been a patient hitter who stole bags. He is now not stealing bags, but hitting for power. Already at 17 home runs this year at second base. Leading off for Cleveland again. Much like Colton Wong, I definitely would strongly recommend going to take a look at Mr. Cesar Hernandez himself.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, going on to shortstop here. We got Paul DeJong, St. Louis Cardinals, and familiar name, obviously, again. But in the last month, he's been batting over 300. So are you keeping your eye on him?
Yeah, he's another guy back from injury, but St. Louis is looking for all the help that they can get. DeJong's got very... what's the word I'm looking here for? Oh, yeah, power. He's got a lot of power. He's not going to hit for much average, but is hitting, I believe, in the meat of the lineup right now with St. Louis. You know, shortstop has been pretty thin this year, I feel like, for the most part. If you're looking for some help there, go look at Paul DeJong.
You know, and this was a name I was kind of surprised to see you put on here. Jonathan Villar. I've never really been too excited about him. Are you thinking that people should start looking at him as a pickup right now in the season because of multiple positional eligibility, or what's your take on this here?
Yeah, nail on the head, really, with Jonathan Villar. He essentially was scooped up with the Mets for only a one-year deal in Yahoo leagues. I know he's second, third, and short position eligibility. Has been hitting as of late, and has the ability to steal bags, which again we're all in need of, especially here, towards the home stretch of the season. Give him a close look. Mets have been riddled with injuries. I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up leading off at one point during the rest of the season for the Mets. So get ahead of the curve on Jonathan Villar.
All right, let's go down to third base now. Jeff McNeil, you're going to advise some of our 12 to 20 listeners here to see if he was dropped in their leagues. That's correct?
Yes, that's right.
That's right, Jose.
Take a look to see if Jeff McNeil has been dropped. Another guy who's just been riddled with injuries this year. It's been happening all season. A lot of people are attributing it to last year's shortened season, and now these players are, for some reason, having a hard time to play the regular 162-game season. But Jeff McNeil has been hitting as of late. Again, the Mets are riddled with injuries. He's not going to have any worries of playing time. And a good source of some a little bit of home runs, a little bit of stolen bases, but a plentiful average. So go take a look at Jeff McNeil, see if he's been dropped.
We're going to talk about definite multiple positional eligibility all-star here. Kyle Farmer, he can be used at any position in the infield in Yahoo standard leagues. and is only 17% rostered, up 6% from last week. Tell us why that's happening.
Yeah, Kyle Farmer this last month has been crushing the ball. Cincinnati is definitely a very potent offensive lineup. And like you had said, with all of his infield eligibility, he's included as catcher, so it's kind of a bonus with him. Whether or not it's going to hold up, you don't know, but again, look for hot stretches, especially as the playoffs are looming, and this might be a guy who's hot towards the end of the season that can get you over that hump.
All right, and going out to the outfield now, one of my favorite players to talk about.
Yes.
Some refer to him as Solar Power. I refer to him as Solar Eclipse. Jorge Soler of the Kansas City Royals, 47% roster, was probably at like 99 at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And he's up 11% from last week, seeing as he's gone on a 6 home run tear. So talk to us about him.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted it right there. 6 home runs in the last 6 games. This might be a second half darling for the rest of the year. Kansas City keeps trotting him out, and he has been producing. So, get on a hot streak while you can. Again, playoffs are looming. Outfield, this is, like you had said earlier, this guy was like easily doubled his roster percentage, currently at 47%. Yahoo, up 11% in the last day. So, there's worse options out there. This guy has the power, not so much the average, but everybody needs home runs.
Yeah, that they do, and normally he doesn't produce them. All right, so somebody on a good run this week, Harrison Bader, St. Louis Cardinals. All of a sudden, people are jumping all over this guy. Tell us why.
Yeah, this has been one of the Cardinals' biggest prospects for a while now, and has had trouble the last few years. Again, another dude with injuries, but recently had surgery. I believe it was on his nose or something with his visibility, that they're saying that suddenly this guy has cut his strikeout rate in half and has been crushing the ball as of late. And he's got power. He has elite speed. I believe it's 97 percentile in all of baseball. So the guy's going to get you some bags. He's homering at a pretty solid rate the last couple weeks. Whether or not it's going to last, who knows? But this could be a 5-category stud down the stretch.
Gotcha. And I just want to say I had some breaking news come in. It just looks like I got updated here. Seems like you want to talk about Max Kepler, so go for it.
Yes. When I recently brought his name up earlier in the show, I was like, oh, wait, I do want to bring him up due to the fact that he has been crushing the ball himself, and there is wide speculation that he will be traded, much like his former teammate Nelson Cruz from the Minnesota Twins. And they're talking about him potentially going to either Boston or New York, the New York Yankees, that is. And he is a lefty pull hitter. In either one of those stadiums, that dude is going to crush a lot of home runs down the stretch, especially in that short porch in Yankee Stadium. And he has been hitting the ball harder and farther this year more than he has in any year. And this is a guy who has led off for Minnesota in the past, and if you put him at leadoff in either one of those teams, in either one of those offenses, I should say, this guy is going to produce wildly for you down the stretch. So Max Kepler, definitely take a look to see if he's still available.
All right, and why don't you take us into the next category here, starting pitchers. The Atlanta Braves phenom that we just saw post 10 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Take us through.
Yeah, Touki Toussaint has been a guy that Brave fans have been salivating over the last few years, and then essentially just lets them and me all down. So Touki Toussaint, last 2 outings since he's come back again from injury, has been nothing short than stellar. And why not? Starting pitching is getting really thin. A lot of injuries have been plagued from the last couple weeks with a lot of these starters, including that of Max Scherzer, who potentially could be traded, but Touki Toussaint. Braves need starting pitching help, so I mean they're going to trot him out there now as long as he's going to be producing for them, especially these last 2 outings.
All right, and we're going to talk about Patrick Sandoval real quick. The Angels, who almost closed out, was a no-hitter the other night?
No-hitter, yeah.
All right, so unfortunately for that last little stint, got 8.2 innings. Somebody that maybe, let's talk about me. I've got a lot of pitching problems lately. Should I pick this guy up?
Yeah, I strongly recommend it. He's been looking very well. His innings pitched to strikeout ratio is very solid, 71.2 thirds to 81 strikeouts. That always looks good. ERA of 3.52 and a whip of 1.10 for a guy I'd never heard of until this season, and still at 40% rostered, so widely available. Like you said, and like I had said earlier, everybody is in need of starting pitching, so I would definitely go take a look at Patrick Sandoval, even though I'm sure after almost a no-hitter, he's been scooped up in a majority of leagues that are actually still participating.
All right, and then some of our relief pitchers. So talking about a guy who got the save the other night against the Astros, Paul Sewald. Are you looking at him for the rest of the season or just a desperation pickup?
No, definitely rest of the season. We brought him up in our most recent podcast as well, so I'm going to say this is the last call on Paul Sewald. Elite strikeout ratio that always looks great as a closer. Seattle has been winning games, so I mean it's interesting to see what they're going to do at the trade deadline, as I had mentioned earlier. But everybody needs closer helps. Not everybody is playing in saves plus holds leagues, so pick him up where you can before it's too late. I'm saying this last call on Paul Sewald.
Yeah, and then speaking of whether or not you're in the saves as holds leagues, this one's going to be relevant as well with David Bednar from Pittsburgh. Take us through that.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is actively open at trading. They just traded away Adam Frazier. He just went to the Padres, and I think Richard Rodriguez, their current closer, is on the move next, leaving David Bednar available as the Pittsburgh's future closer. This guy has elite stuff, very high strikeout ratio, and definitely a good player to get ahead of the curve on before it's too late, especially, again, for those just in strictly saves leagues.
Absolutely. All right, well, I mean, that's it for our ad drop suggestions here. Mostly ads this time. So, I just got to say, Jose, we're happy to have you. You're part of the Fantasy R&R Club for the rest of your life. So anytime you want to come on the show or anything like that, you just DM me or leave a comment. I will get back to you happily, and we can reach a massive following of about 20 listeners out there, and you can tell your life story, and we can all have a good time. Rob, any last words for Jose here?
Please join the show.
All right, you heard it here first. All right, once again, for Fantasy R&R, this was your host, Ryan, and Rob. We'll see you next time.
Adios.
So far up your butt, you're ready to see the light of day.